From the Mercy One studio.
Support for Faith on Trial and Iowa Catholic Radio provided in part by Imogene Ingredients.
Our freedom of conscience and religion is being challenged by laws and regulations imposed by secular society. It's time to hear from the top Christian litigators in the nation who have come forward to tell us the truth and help us defend our faith.
Hear ye, hear ye. All rise. Faith on Trial with Defender of the Faith, Deacon Mike Mano, is in session.
And good Thursday morning from our virtual Mercy One studios in West Des Moines. Gina and I are coming to you again this week via Skype, so we'll try and keep any technical difficulties to a minimum. Good morning, Gina. How are you?
Good morning. So far, so good.
Okay. I think we have an interesting show today. We're going to be talking about things that are trying to infect our children.
Exactly.
And it's going to be something worth listening to, although I'm sure that the people that are listening are not necessarily going to be very happy with what it is that we're talking about. And go ahead.
Well, honestly, I'm really aware of a lot of attacks on our children, especially in their faith lives by our secular world. But this is an interesting guest that we have today because I hadn't heard about some of these kinds of direct satanic attacks.
Right. Right, and it's coming through a lot of mainstream media. It's coming in stores, books that they can buy. I guess there's a book out on demonic spells that can be purchased. But we'll talk to John about that. He's got a book out, by the way, called Return to Order, and we'll talk about the whole Return to Order thing when we get him on the line. That may be something, Gina, that we might want to put together for a whole program sometime. It's just that Return to Order stuff.
I have to tell you, I thought that book looked like it was interesting. I agree with you wholeheartedly. For a future show, listeners, we'll bring you that.
I think so. And the book is free. And
yes,
the book is free. You can get the book free. And I've got a copy of it right here. And when we get to them, we'll hold it up in front of the microphone so that everybody out there can see what it looks like if you look at your radio at the right time.
Facebook page.
All right. Do you have a prayer to open us up with today?
I do. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. God of peace, bring your peace to our violent world. Peace in the hearts of all men and women, and peace among the nations of this earth. Turn to your way of love those whose hearts and minds are consumed with hatred. Strengthen us in hope, and give us the wisdom and courage to work tirelessly for a world where true peace and love reign among the nations and in the hearts of all. Amen.
And we certainly want to keep in our prayers all those people who are victims of the coronavirus that are suffering either in hospitals or in some of them at home. And, of course, all of our first responders, the nurses, the doctors, the medical technicians, all those people who are assisting with them and their recovery. One of the things that I am concerned about, though, as we look at the virus, is that we have so many people now, excuse me, so many people that are out of work, that are losing businesses. I think the governor and the president have a big job on their hands trying to balance those things out so that we can get back to work and yet still protect people's health.
Exactly. I think it's been a very good lesson in the definition of leadership, I think. Mm-hmm. Especially when so many things are unknown, and having the balance of people's lives in your hands really, really defines a leader at this point.
I think so, and I think our governor is doing a very good job at this right now. I think she's been very conscious about what she is doing and hasn't painted with an overly broad brush in her dealing with it.
As a citizen of the state, I have to say the daily updates are, whether I like the information or not, I have to say having the governor in front of us giving her perspective of what she's dealing with on that particular day on our behalf and for our benefit is completely reassuring and helpful, because there's just you sit in your house and you just don't know what tomorrow's going to look like. Yeah. And I'm hearing of people that are telling me that their favorite restaurant is closing
They're not going to reopen, and you worry about those people who put all their time and effort and their family fortune into establishing a business, and now they're watching it kind of get flushed down the drain right now, and then all the people that work for them, they're losing their jobs, and it's too bad because we had such a good economy before we got into this.
Well, it's, if nothing, a lesson that all things can be made good again through God. I think so. And I think it's very important now that we do that we return to God. And remember, and I've mentioned this before, our Adoration Chapel at St. Augustine is open, and anybody who wants to draw near to God can, obviously you don't have to go to the chapel to do it. You can sit at home and say your rosary or whatever, but it does make a nice break for people that can't get out, can't go anywhere, that maybe you can go over there and sit in the presence of Jesus and talk to him yourself, right, one-on-one. All right, it's about time we take a break right now. When we come back, we're going to have with us John Hovart, who is the Vice President of the American Society for the Defense of Tradition, Family, and Property. You're listening to Faith on Trial on Iowa Catholic Radio.
Impoverished children break everyone's heart, but poverty seems like such a big problem. What can one person do to make a difference? For 17 years, Blessman International's passion has been to connect the resources of our donors with sustainable programs that impact the lives of impoverished children in South Africa. Our donors are feeding thousands of hungry children every week, providing basic water and sanitation for impoverished communities, and sharing the love of God in practical ways every day. Go to www.blessmaninternational.org and make your donation today.
Nearly 64% of all abortions in Iowa are chemical, or more commonly known, the abortion pill. At Intervisions Healthcare, we do not provide the abortion pill, but we do provide the medical information required to make an informed decision. If a woman regrets taking the first pill, she can come to Intervisions to help reverse the effects. Our nursing staff is trained in the abortion pill reversal protocol, a relatively new medical procedure, but we need your help in getting the word out. For more information on the free medical services at Intervisions Healthcare or to support the mission, visit ivhcare.org.
Is it time for a new roof? Then it could be time for you to get to know Bell Construction. Bell Construction is a roofing company entering its 30th year of business. They specialize in residential re-roofs, like commercial jobs, and have the experience to meet all of your roofing needs with personal service. With Bell Construction, the owner will come to your home or place of business in person to inspect and ensure the quality of work that you deserve. They pride themselves in working with you on a personal basis and making sure you are satisfied. Bell Construction, 515-963-4494.
Thank you, Big Red Q Quick Print, for underwriting the sports report. Family owned and operated since 1980, Big Red Q Quick Print is a full-service print shop ready to help you with all your printing needs with speed and accuracy. Forms, manuals, brochures, letterhead, envelopes, business cards, custom invitations, design, and bindery. Big Red Q Quick Print, located across from Merle Hay Mall. Online at bigredq-desmoines.com. Big Red Q Quick Print. We make printing easy.
What is the best gift ever? Well, some might say a Catholic education, and I agree. But if you think you can't afford Catholic education, think again. Apply for CTO, and you could receive up to half your tuition for kindergarten through 12th grade. More information is online, ctoiowa.org. The bottom line, it's for the kids and their future.
Support for Dowling Catholic Sports 365 is provided in part by Ashworth Vision Clinic with 2 licensed optometrists, Barbara Sheets, a Dowling Catholic graduate, and Dr. Todd Pedig. The Ashworth Vision Clinic team provides complete eye exams, contact lenses, glasses, glaucoma testing, and pre- and post-operative care. Ashworth Vision Clinic is located at Ashworth and 60th Street in West Des Moines, 515-440-4610, online at ashworthvision.com.
And we're back. We should have on the line with us John Hovart from the American Society for the Defense of Tradition, Family, and Property. Do we have John?
Yes, I'm
or
here.
Did our oh, very good. I was afraid our communication was breaking down a little bit here. Gina, my co-host, and I are via Skype, so sometimes we have a lag in our communication here a little bit. But it's nice to have you with us. And before we start, why don't you tell us just a little bit about the Defense of Tradition, Family, and Property. What is that society?
Okay, we're a civic organization of Catholic inspiration, and we defend tradition, family, and property through books, publications, activisms, student campaigns, educational work throughout the United States. We've been in existence for about 40 years, and we have offices throughout the country.
All right, and before we go, I want to talk to you a little bit about your book and find out how people can get returned to order. Right. But I want to start off with some of the campaigns that you've been involved in and petition drives dealing with Satanism, and especially how it is directed at our younger children and teenagers.
Right. We have been very much involved in that because we feel that it is the Satanists are trying to mainstream themselves into our culture. And so they're entering into movies, books, actual temples themselves, very satanic ceremonies and after-school clubs for children and those kind of things. So they're trying to make Satanism just another religion, so to speak. Even they have been recognized by the Internal Revenue Service as that. So we feel it's very important that we keep ahead of the curve because that's where things are heading.
Wow. Now, talk to us about some of the particulars. I know there was a book out that came out not long ago about casting spells.
Right. There was, especially with the victory of President Trump in 2016. 16. Yeah, 16. There was a lot of satanic activism.
We're both political on this side, Gina and I, so we can probably give you a lot of dates and candidates.
Right, we know that. We're Iowans. We're connected to our politics.
They all come here first. So
okay, well, that's great. Well, this is what happened. I mean, after the victory, the witches were very active, and they were casting spells. They were something like 13,000 witches had what they called binding, asking the dark powers to bind the president's action after the inauguration. And also as a result, there have been a lot of books about mixing politics and magic. You know, magic for the resistance, rituals, spells for change. Another book was called Witchcraft Activism, a toolkit for a magical resistance. So these are pretty powerful things. If you believe in the devil, which I do, and I think is very, very dangerous to dabble in these things. It's out there, there are a lot of people involved trying to mix magic with politics.
And magic is so very attractive to young people, for sure, especially this our emerging generation who was raised on the Harry Potter series and all the magic and Wiccan stuff associated with those stories.
Right, and I think it's also there is a void there of religion from the point of view of our own church, that is not being filled, and. Nature hates a vacuum. It's going to be filled some way, and it's out there in the culture that they're immersed in. So it is a temptation for young people.
Tell us about this program that may or may not be canceled. Good Omens.
Oh, Good Omens. Yes, we did a protest against that last June. It is put out by Amazon. But I approved the protest, and the person who wrote it up said it was from Netflix, and as a result, the media just went on a rampage, saying how stupid we looked, how this is crazy. I was getting telephone calls from the New York Times, I think Forbes. just all the really big mainstream people were saying, how can you be so foolish as to mix up, Netflix and Amazon? And so, our petition was, completely crazy, completely off key, completely gone. So it was a humiliating point. I mean, I admit my errors, and we did rectify it. But just recently, I just found out that Amazon really wants to repeat, to have a second season of this of Good Omens. And so
what's the show about? For those of
that's a good point to say.
Our listeners that don't know.
It's a very it treats the devil and the angels as sort of in a comical way, and so a devil and an angel represented by actors get together, and they say, well, we're so comfortable with the modern day world, we really don't want to bring about the apocalypse, we don't want the Antichrist to come. And so they mix up a lot of religious imagery and narrative into this comic series, and in the process, really make fun of the Catholic Church, nuns, and it's just really very, very blasphemous and very irreverent towards the Church. So that was
it sounds like that may be aimed or directed at younger viewers.
Yeah, it was a very popular series, and I know that I think a lot of it was pretty popular among all sorts of people, from what I gather. It's just one of these sort of comedies to undermine the church, is to laugh at the church. That's the first step before you go into more worse things.
I saw it advertised on my Amazon Prime. I never did click on it, go any further, but it was pretty prominently advertised.
Right. No, it was wildly successful, and and our protest was, saying, well, we're protesting. We didn't expect too much, but just recently there was an article that said that they wanted to do a second season. They offered the author to do a second season, and really pretty much gave him a blank check if he would, and he said he didn't want to. And then also they mentioned a petition, and our petition, saying how this was something that really put some cold water on it. And so I think our petition did have an effect. Whether it stopped it or whether the author really didn't really want to go do it, I don't know. But I do think it had a major effect. Protest work.
Well, I'm glad it had an impact. But does it feel a little bit like a whack-a-mole, what you do with these petitions and other coverings?
No, because what you do is, when you do bring up these cases and you're very persistent and you keep going and go wherever you see them appear, it creates an atmosphere, a climate, a cultural climate whereby the other side forces itself to self-censor. That they say, well, wait a minute, there's going to be a reaction. Let's hide it. Let's do this. Let's do that. And pretty soon it creates an atmosphere that really is harmful to their efforts. We've seen this happen in many cases where they've opened a temple. The Church of Satan opens a temple in a place, and we've protested, and later on it closes down. So people become aware of it, and I think it has an impact.
So the efforts of the Christian community are still alive and well and forceful.
Yeah, we need to be alive and well. We need to be out there, and I think it's very, very important not to get discouraged, and to be well aware of the strength that we have. Not only our physical strength, our physical presence, but above all the spiritual presence of God, and God helping our efforts and undermining the efforts of Satanists.
Now, you also had a campaign against some of the things that Walmart was carrying.
Right, yeah. Walmart carries on its online calendar certain satanic things. That's a little harder. We're still going at it and pecking away at it. And we do see some signs, but we haven't yet succeeded in getting everything taken off. And these would be Ouija boards, kind of satanic symbols of sorts. It's a niche market that they carry on their online calendar that they shouldn't, and especially since they do, get most of their audience is not Satanist, and it is very much offended by it.
They have jewelry with pentagrams and things like that, right. Don't they?
Exactly. So these are things that are out in the culture that we need to always be on the lookout for and protest when we can.
Mm-hmm.
Besides protesting, what would you recommend for parents that their kids are home now, they're streaming all day long? How do we protect our children from some of the media and objects that are appealing to them because of their satanic curiosity?
Yeah, you need to be very vigilant in what they watch and what they see. I'm very much impressed, and I myself have put myself under this. Is these parental guidance programs, computer programs that block these things. They can be pretty effective. They can all of a sudden say, "Well, we're not letting you look at this because it has Satanism, pornography, sexual content." Those are pretty helpful tools that you can't always be watching, but these tools do probably get 90 to 95% of what might come across the screen.
You mentioned pornography. I think that's another thing that's kind of aimed at a lot of our young people today, young impressionable people.
Right.
And I know that you've dealt with that as well.
Right. Yeah. Oh no. You definitely. And there is sort of a connection between it all. The Satanism, pornography, abortion, homosexuality, all these things. All these agendas that are out there that are really pushing people towards sin and toward the devil, they do come together. I mean, it's not all pornography is satanic, but definitely there is a lot of overlap. So we have to we do have to be on the lookout for those things.
John, before we go, I want you to talk a little bit about the book Return to Order. What it's about and how people can get their free copy.
Okay, the book Return to Order it's a book that helps people understand better where we went wrong in our culture and in our economy, and where we need to go from a Catholic perspective. The Catholic Church has a lot to offer, even from the point of view of economy, about how society should be organized and how our moral values should enter into culture and economy. So it's a book that deals with these things.
How do we get a copy?
You can get it from www.returntoorder.org. That's the website. If you go to that website, you'll see there the free offer for the book.
Very good. We're going to have you back and talk in depth about that book one of these days. We certainly appreciate your time today, and thank you for joining us, and we will definitely want to have you back.
Well, it sounds good. It's great. Always great being on Catholic Radio. I enjoy it.
Good. Thank you. John Horvath, Vice President of the Society for the Defense of Tradition, Family, and Property, and the author of the book, Return to Order. We'll be back in a couple minutes. You're listening to Faith on Trial on Iowa Catholic Radio.
Is it time for a new roof? Then it could be time for you to get to know Bell Construction. Bell Construction is a roofing company entering its 30th year of business. They specialize in residential re-roofs, like commercial jobs, and have the experience to meet all of your roofing needs with personal service. With Bell Construction, the owner will come to your home or place of business in person to inspect and ensure the quality of work that you deserve. They pride themselves in working with you on a personal basis and making sure you are satisfied. Bell Construction, 515-963-4494.
Nearly 64% of all abortions in Iowa are chemical, or more commonly known, the abortion pill. At Intervisions Healthcare, we do not provide the abortion pill, but we do provide the medical information required to make an informed decision. If a woman regrets taking the first pill, she can come to Intervisions to help reverse the effects. Our nursing staff is trained in the abortion pill reversal protocol, a relatively new medical procedure, but we need your help in getting the word out. For more information on the free medical services at Intervisions Healthcare or to support the mission, visit ivhcare.org.
What is the best gift ever? Giving a Catholic education is at the top of my list. Your contribution to CTO helps families send their children to our Catholic schools who otherwise could not afford it. In giving to CTO, you receive the best tax credits ever. Pledge or donate online at ctoiowa.org. The bottom line, it's for the kids and their future.
Support for Dowling Catholic Sports 365 is provided in part by Ashworth Vision Clinic with 2 licensed optometrists, Barbara Sheets, a Dowling Catholic graduate, and Dr. Todd Pedig. The Ashworth Vision Clinic team provides complete eye exams, contact lenses, glasses, glaucoma testing, and pre- and post-operative care. Ashworth Vision Clinic is located at Ashworth and 60th Street in West Des Moines, 515-440-4610, online at ashworthvision.com.
Thank you, Dental Associates, for underwriting Dowling Catholic Sports 365. With over 40 years' experience, Dental Associates is a group dental practice with the mission of promoting optimum health and well-being to all patients, providing preventative, restorative, and cosmetic dentistry for the entire family. Message underwritten by Dr. Kenton Gleichman, Dr. Steve Karbaka, Dr. Christine Mulcahy, and Dr. Ben Nagel. Dental Associates, addressing your smile, needs, and dreams. Online at DesMoines-DentalAssociates.com.
Support for Iowa Catholic Radio and Faith on Trial provided by Paul Martin and Paul Mitchell, owners of Imogene Ingredients. Imogene Ingredients supply specialized feed ingredients for livestock and pet diets to improve maternal and young animal health in both conventional and organic production.
Here's your forecast on Iowa Catholic Radio. We'll be getting fair conditions for this afternoon and our temperature in the low 70s. A cold front and low pressure moving through tonight, so we could get a few showers and dropping down to 50. That low pressure system will be moving through tomorrow as well, and some showers and thunderstorms are possible, low 60s. The weather is brought to you by Divine Treasures, a Catholic book and gift store serving the Des Moines community for over 25 years. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton on Iowa Catholic Radio.
And we are back. We have with us Arthur Schaper, who is the Communications Director for Mass Resistance. Arthur, how are you this morning?
Yes, my last name is Schaper. Yes. So just
Schaper, I'm sorry.
That's fine. No, okay, so I'm doing very well this morning, and
I will remember that.
No problem. So things are going very well for my organization, Mass Resistance. I'm their organization director. I help to form the chapters. Mm-hmm. I help to direct the individuals who contact us and whom we want to work with in the several states as well as around the world to fight this perverse LGBT agenda. Yes, things are good.
All right, I put something on our blog, and we have a blog that's different from our Facebook page, but it was the story of how Mass Resistance approached the pending new change in the school curriculum in the state of Washington as it relates to sexual education and how you defeated that. That was a long and involved story, and we certainly appreciated it. But for those who have not heard the story or read the story, what was it that the state of Washington was proposing for our children? And is it limited to just Washington, or is this going on across the country?
Okay, so this is a segue. It's a little, last year we had a number of parents who were working with us in the state of Washington on a number of metrics. They wanted to fight against directly story hours, which were successful, and they wanted to take on Senate Bill 5395. And that was the perverse sex ed curriculum that wanted to teach everything about homosexuality, transgenderism, and other sexual perversions to masquerade them as normal and just different forms of existence. But it's all beautiful because diversity is the only strength that matters. So last year, we worked with a number of people who confronted lawmakers in person. Interestingly enough, we have one of the sponsors of the bill is also a city council or school board member in Federal Way, Washington, and so a number of our contacts confronted that lawmaker in public at the school board meeting. We had people who networked and organized with thousands of others and descended upon the front steps of the state legislature, and they were successful. This is going to be the only downside I have to share, however, that a lot of the pro-family people that reached out to us and wanted to work with us didn't understand and didn't pick up the fundamental principles that mass resistance operates on. We are a confrontational, in-your-face, pro-family, anti-LGBT, political group. You have to keep up the pressure. And so, sadly, what happened this year, leading up to Governor Inslee, he ended up signing the bill because then they put it through the legislature a second time. They didn't follow our path the first time. The first time around, we told people go after the chairman of the House Education Committee. Make it very clear you don't want this. She was in a town hall. Her last name was Santos, and she ended up, not moving the bill forward because, she hid behind the excuse of, it hasn't gotten enough vetting, it hasn't gotten enough attention. The truth is that mass resistance was directing people, go after the chairman, go after Democrats, and get this bill stopped. We don't care what political party they are. We know that you make people feel the heat, and they see the light. Unfortunately, a lot of the pro-family people that were working with us initially decided that they wanted to try to pass a compromise bill. Republicans floated their own comprehensive sex ed bill, which was basically a watered-down version, but pretty much the same thing. It was perverse. It teaches transgenderism and homosexuality as just different forms of sexual expression. We told some of the activists who were pushing this is not the way to go. You shouldn't be teaching perversion of any kind to kids in schools. Honestly, we ought to consider what Poland is doing right now. They're going to criminalize sexual education, essentially, not permitting it. This is stuff that shouldn't, if teachers are promoting stuff that is sexually perverse, aberrant, abhorrent, immoral, they can be sent to jail. And honestly, this agenda is so pernicious and destructive, that kind of a discussion needs to be had in this country. Kids should not be taught anything about.
One thing I wanted to point out, it seemed to me that in the Washington school case, one of the people, I think it was the state senator you referred to, was also on a board of education, and he put enough pressure on her that she resigned, I think right in the middle of a school board meeting.
So that's what happened then, yes. We were able to, that was our success in 2019. It's not one of the things also for mass resistance is we're not afraid to assess situations when they don't go the way we want them to. We talk about what we face. Fighting the left is hard enough, but we find also that some of these other pro-family groups don't want to fight at all, or they want to compromise, or they don't want to stress what works. So so that's one thing that was a problem. But let me give your audience great news. In California, where I live, we bombarded another school board, Downey Unified School District, so much. Our efforts went all over the country. People in Florida were reading about what we did, and they were so effective that the school board relented and said, okay, we're going to put together a new school board, a new sex ed curriculum. But we're not done yet. In spite of the COVID-19 lockdowns, which have pretty much shut out public presentations at school board meetings, we're still demanding not just a new curriculum, but parents must be involved at the outset. They want to have a curriculum committee without parents. And that was the same mistake they made the last time. School boards do this on purpose. They get a couple of eggheads, experts, then they get some teachers and staffers, and they say, look, we got a lot of great people. They put the curriculum together, and then they say, we'll just present it to the public, and they can accept it, reject it, or give us some feedback. Most parents don't have the first idea how to approach a massive amount of information being shoved at them. This whole curriculum committee process is basically designed to minimize or frustrate parental involvement and investment. We're fighting back against that. We're helping the parents to take back control of the education for their children and to remind school boards. They work for children. They work for the parents. They are not supposed to be perverting our children. They need to be looking for every loophole possible and, if necessary, file lawsuits against the very states which want to implement or impose these perverse sex ed curricular programs. We're not even done there. Even though there's this supposedly coronavirus, there's this lockdown which is shutting down a lot of interaction among parents, children, activists, and many of the schools are being shut down because of it. In California, all the schools are closed for the end of the year, for the rest of the year. Mass resistance isn't stopping.
Yeah, same here in Iowa.
We are filing Freedom of Information Act requests in school districts. We're getting a lot of information about what libraries are doing, how they're promoting this LGBT agenda to kids in the students' libraries. We are finding out whether school districts are implementing other pro-LGBT curricula or programs like safe zones or welcoming schools. We're going to have a report coming out very soon about one very perverted librarian in an elementary school. I mean, it's just shocking. And this isn't in California, it's in Texas. You'd think Texas, one of the reddest states in the union, would not be allowing any kind of LGBT filth to be pushed or imposed or presented to children. But it's happening even there, and we're going to be exposing it. So, we had a great victory in Washington State last year, but it's kind of like we're going to be doing a report also on what happened in Washington State this year. We have a handful of committed activists who continue to stick with our way of doing things. Mass resistance is in your face, no compromise. We call out this agenda for what it is. Homosexuality is a perversion. Transgenderism is a mental disorder. These should not be promoted. They should be diminished and discouraged at all costs to our children. And there's no compromising this. It's not enough to talk about, protecting religious liberty. You have to point out that this is an unhealthy, unhealthful, destructive agenda, which has no business being around our kids, no business being in our schools. And I mean, it's just shocking how the whole LGBT lobby, it's almost like they recruit gay teachers, LGBT activists to get into the public school system to push this agenda, all while pretending to be teachers who are just teaching reading, writing, and arithmetic. It's pretty shocking stuff, and we need to wake people up to start not just confronting their school districts, but taking them back. And that's what we're doing.
Arthur, how prevalent is this across the country?
Too much, to put it mildly. In Massachusetts, for example, the sex ed curriculum was so horrific. Our president, took this very seriously. He accompanied a parent to confront the principal, and he documents how principals and other administrators, they use a whole bunch of tricks and tactics to shame, intimidate, or distract parents who want to confront them about what is my kid learning in school. And Brian, it's something we've had a number of parents who adopt and take on our approach, and they get it. You don't make nice with the principals. You don't make nice with the administrators. They work for us. We don't work for them. And they have a responsibility to care for our children. We see this happening in Massachusetts. We see this happening in Texas, California, Arizona. Pretty much, even in the most conservative of states, the fact is that I can't even call them public schools because they go to great lengths to hide what they're doing from the public. These government schools essentially are filled with social justice warriors within the teachers' unions, within the administrative unions. It is very difficult to find teachers and administrators who are conservative, who are pro-family, who are anti-LGBT, and want to do what's best for kids. Don't get me wrong. We've had teachers and administrators reach out to us for help, and hopefully, from this interview that I'm doing with you and the further reports we're going to share, more teachers will feel the courage to come out to us, so to speak, and say, I'm so tired of this LGBT stuff being shoved on my students. I don't know how to fight this. And we give them the equipment and the resources to do so. I mentioned what's happening in Downey, in Anaheim Unified, and in an elementary school. They were teaching kids about Harvey Milk. They wanted to have a Harvey Milk Day, but when there was enough uproar, they rescinded it. But I did a Freedom of Information Act request on Anaheim Elementary, and the rhetoric and the attitude of the principal and the LGBT lobbyists is just so disgusting. The arrogance they had. Well, I guess our community isn't as open-minded as we thought they were. We'll have to do this another time, as if there's something wrong with the parents. As if there's something wrong with the children. No, there's something wrong with anybody who thinks promoting a pervert, pedophile, pederast like Harvey Milk is something acceptable. And this is the kind of outrage we're taking. I can't give too many details, but we're going to be exposing an elementary school librarian he's a librarian by day, but he's an openly gay, bondage, dominant, sadomasochist performer at night. These people are around our children? Outrageous.
Elementary school. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, I know, and God bless the great state of Iowa. A big shout out to Paul Dorr. He's our Iowa mass resistance contact. Paul Dorr, God bless him. He took those filthy books at the Orange City Library and burned them. And we're very much behind him, and he's a big supporter of ours too. This kind of outrage needs to become more manifest. I don't want to see anybody's natural rights violated, but people in the state of Iowa, and I mean, you're telling me where else is this happening? It's happening in Iowa. I think it's the Ames, Iowa, or the Des Moines, Iowa library is just a cesspool of drag queen filth. It's just shocking. I know this interview was supposed to initially be about what's happening with the sex ed curriculum, but a lot of it ties together. So, I mean,
it's about what's happening to our children.
Yeah. And, and it's just time for people to say, it's time to be, it's okay to be uncivil to protect our civilization. And this LGBT agenda is just chipping at the foundations of it. I mean, think about this. Even Joseph Stalin and Chairman Mao didn't declare war on gender. Male and female still existed in those communistic regimes. Don't get me wrong. I'm so glad that the Soviet Union is gone, and I can't wait for communist China to collapse. But just to show how evil it is, that male and female are being attacked so rigidly, so, just so brazenly. We cannot slumber in the face of this. We need to be outreached about this and say, no, you're not doing that to my children. No, you're not doing this in my country. No, you're not going to do this to our culture and to our future. And mass resistance understands this. We have a vehement outrage about this, and we fight to win.
Well, and sadly, this kind of focus objectifies the human body, and then we have a less respect for each other. There's nothing better than a healthy sex education course in the schools that teaches the kids about healthy human sexuality, emotional relations, responsibilities, the human race, and relationships to each other. Does Mass Resistance have any recommendations for parents who are involved in the curriculum in their schools for a healthy curriculum?
Okay, a curriculum should be stressing abstinence or marriage. And in fact, Mass Resistance, we're discussing right now. We've gotten some templates. We're thinking about trying to put together our own curriculum as well that we can give to parents, like a comprehensive option that can be presented to school boards. There's something. This is something. It's not original with me. There's a wonderful pastor. Well, he's definitely a professor, Christopher Ewan. He was a former homosexual himself. He talks about something called holy sexuality. But really, any kind of sex education, besides going from the anatomy and the human development, really it should be abstinence, celibacy, or marriage. I mean, those are the healthy and proper expressions of sexual behavior. Anything else is emotionally destructive. It's physically harmful. And, you don't have to use the word holy, but wholesome, could be the word that's used as well. We have to restore to that. I mean, and I mentioned Paul Dorr a second time. He has even suggested sex ed shouldn't be taught at all in the public schools. And I'm beginning to lean, I may have to disagree with the notion, a proper sex ed program is the way to go. I mean, there's room for debate or discussion about this, but if there's a sex ed curriculum, it should be, abstain from sex until you marry, right. And these are the consequences if you don't. And this is the other shocking thing. Sorry to divert a little bit. Many of the current sex ed programs, positive prevention.
Go ahead. We want to hear your honest opinion, so don't soften it any for us, Arthur. Just come right out and say what you believe.
Thank you so much. I mean, Teen Talk, and which is what Downey had appropriated or had taken on, and then there's Positive Prevention Plus. It's just shocking to me. It's just a never-ending mixed message. They keep talking about the different forms of sexual contact that males and females can have with one another, and then they say, but abstinence is the best thing, and yet they're presenting all the different ways to have sexual intercourse or to be engaged with others sexually. I mean, it's, and I will go so far as to say it's not a mixed message. It's a covert agenda to sexualize minors, to get them sexually active. And part of the proof for this, Teen Talk, much of the basis and the promotion of it is by Planned Parenthood. Planned Parenthood wants a whole bunch of unintended pregnancies, so more minors are going to go to the clinics and get abortions. They want it is a perverse baby butchering bureaucracy that wants to keep bringing in the blood money, and so they push these perverse agendas to teach kids to have indiscriminate sex, to devalue and diminish the value of their bodies, and to promote abortion. I mean, these things are taught to kids, and of course, I call them planned murderhood. They're moving into promoting the LGBT agenda at length, promoting, abortion and, and condom use and other so-called contraceptives as a means of stemming the spread of venereal disease. When the truth is, we had a parent in Downey, California, a nurse, who explained at length, wearing a condom, engaging in anal sex. Sorry for the explicit terms, but this is what we're dealing with. The curriculum teaches people that, teaches the kids that these are safe alternatives for sexual expression. No, they're not. There is still rampant spread of disease. There is still emotional, mental, as well as physical problems that ensue when children or even adults are engaging in sexually perverse acts, destructive behaviors that undermine the body, that don't follow godly, well-established norms.
So,
go ahead, Jana.
My take on this is that these instructors or teachers are very poorly educated in their own in the harmfulness of a lot of the stuff that they're teaching. Does it go back to their training in college? Are there curriculums at a college level that when they're training teachers to teach this subject matter is indoctrinating them with this material? Because this is obviously, they're not talking about all the harms of these abhorrent sex acts.
Well, see, I can speak to that, too, from experience. I mean, I had received a teaching credential at Cal State Long Beach. And part of getting your preliminary credential is teachers in training have to take a health class. And it's like all kinds of sexually aberrant behaviors are taught. I mean, I remember in my class, in the course that I took, the teacher was hostile to religion, hostile to faith. He mocked people who had views and beliefs that were grounded in, biblical revelation as well as like biological sanctity, if I may be so bold. He brought a guy in who said, my son is gay and there's nothing wrong with it, stuff like that. He brought in another guest speaker who made jokes about people engaging in the hookup culture. There were slides and lessons that taught about all the different words that kids can and do use to describe their genitalia. I mean, it was so shocking. I actually walked out of one of the classes and said, "I'm not listening to this garbage."
Arthur, when I was promoting the program, I said this is going to be one that our listeners are going to have a bottle of antacids for. I think you have you have certainly delivered, and we're pretty much out of time right now. But I do want you, if you can, to give us your contact information, your webpage or whatever, so that people that want to get a hold of Mass Resistance can do so, and maybe through you then get a hold of Mr. Dorr, who is in Iowa.
So, yes, our website is massresistance.org, www.massresistance.org, Mass Resistance. You can contact our main office at 781-890-6001. We are on Eastern Standard Time. We are 1 hour ahead of Iowans. I believe you guys are Central Time.
We're Central, right.
Absolutely. You can email me directly at arthur@massresistance.org. That's the best way to contact me right now, and then I can start connecting people with Paul Dorr. We definitely want to get Iowa Mass Resistance off the ground. Orange City is supposed to be one of the most conservative sections of the state, and if LGBT is going after the Dutch Reform community, how brazen they've become.
Yeah. Well, Arthur, I want to thank you for being with us today. It's Schaper, is that right? Did I get it right this time?
You got it. Thank you. Absolutely.
Certainly. Arthur Schaper, Communications Director for Mass Resistance. Thank you, and we'll have you back again when we want to have another antacid day.
Oh, geez. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Certainly. And Gina and I will be right back after these messages.
Is it time for a new roof? Then it could be time for you to get to know Bell Construction. Bell Construction is a roofing company entering its 30th year of business. They specialize in residential re-roofs, light commercial jobs, and have the experience to meet all of your roofing needs with personal service. With Bell Construction, the owner will come to your home or place of business in person to inspect and ensure the quality of work that you deserve. They pride themselves in working with you on a personal basis and making sure you are satisfied. Bell Construction, 515-963-4494.
What is the best gift ever? Well, some might say a Catholic education, and I agree. But if you think you can't afford Catholic education, think again. Apply for CTO, and you could receive up to half your tuition for kindergarten through 12th grade. More information is online, ctoiowa.org. The bottom line, it's for the kids and their future.
Support for Dowling Catholic Sports 365 is provided in part by Ashworth Vision Clinic with 2 licensed optometrists, Barbara Sheets, a Dowling Catholic graduate, and Dr. Todd Pedig. The Ashworth Vision Clinic team provides complete eye exams, contact lenses, glasses, glaucoma testing, and pre- and post-operative care. Ashworth Vision Clinic is located at Ashworth and 60th Street in West Des Moines, 515-440-4610, online at ashworthvision.com.
Thank you, Dental Associates, for underwriting Dowling Catholic Sports 365. With over 40 years' experience, Dental Associates is a group dental practice with the mission of promoting optimum health and well-being to all patients, providing preventative, restorative, and cosmetic dentistry for the entire family. Message underwritten by Dr. Kenton Gleichman, Dr. Steve Karbaka, Dr. Christine Mulcahy, and Dr. Ben Nagel. Dental Associates, addressing your smile, needs, and dreams. Online at DesMoines-DentalAssociates.com.
Doing what is challenging because it's right. That's Blackbird Investments. In 2013, Blackbird Investments was born from the inspiration of St. Kevin. When it comes to building real estate, they look for creative solutions by forming strategic alliances, creating energy-efficient buildings, and engaging with local craftsmen. At its core, Blackbird Investments believes in giving buildings a new life. BlackbirdInvest.com. Blackbird Investments, doing what is challenging because it's right.
Support for Iowa Catholic Radio and Faith on Trial provided by Paul Martin and Paul Mitchell, owners of Imogene Ingredients. Imogene Ingredients supply specialized feed ingredients for livestock and pet diets to improve maternal and young animal health in both conventional and organic production. Information about Pharmatan and other products at ImogeneIngredients.com. Paul and Paul are members of St. Augustine's Knights of Columbus and encourage their brother knights to keep standing for their faith. Well, we're back. You're listening to Faith on Trial on Iowa Catholic Radio. Gina, I think we delivered on our promise of an antacid program today.
Yes. I give them so much credit. They have such enthusiasm and such great skill at honing in on these problems as they pop up or emerge. But it's good for us all to know about what to keep an eye out for and to stay attentive to. And I'm glad to know that we have a backup plan. You know, you're not in it alone. Mass Resistance is really helpful and really willing to guide you through squashing any of these abhorrent programming issues.
You know, they're straight fighters. A lot of the people that we have on the program are lawyers and people that deal with problems that we talk about in a different fashion. They're more of the Marcus of Queensberry type, where these guys are alley fighters sometimes, and sometimes you need both. And sometimes you really need an alley fighter to get in there and to stand up and to make a statement and to push back. And unfortunately, we don't have enough of that. So hopefully they'll keep going.
Well, and as parents, you know, we're partners. The school is a partner with us, with our education, and primarily we're responsible for these kinds of educational learning experiences for our children. So I know there's resources out there. I wish I had a whole list of them. Theology of the Body definitely has some great resources to help our kids have a very healthy understanding of the creation that we are and the God's plan for us as in the vocation of marriage and parenting. So I'm glad we've addressed this issue, and I hope that we can stay vigilant on the programming that our kids are exposed to.
Yeah, there are a lot of attacks out there on our children from not only from Satan, but from secular Satanists, I guess, in a way. All right, we're done. We're out of time anyway. Let's close in a prayer. St. Michael the Archangel, defend us in battle, be our protection against the wickedness and snares of the devil. May God rebuke him, we humbly pray, and do thou, O Prince of the heavenly host, by the power of God, thrust into hell Satan and all the evil spirits who prowl about the world, seeking the ruin of souls. Amen. For Gina, Noel, and myself, thank you for listening. Join us next week for another edition of Faith on Trial on Iowa Catholic Radio.
Our freedom of conscience and religion is being challenged by laws and regulations imposed by secular society. Faith on Trial with Defender of the Faith, Deacon Mike Mano. Faith on Trial, Thursdays at 10 a.m. on Iowa Catholic Radio, iowacatholicradio.com, and the Iowa Catholic Radio app.